What up, my superb peoples? Hope you're all doing great, and you'll be doing even better after watching this HASSCAST. So, in this HASSCAST, we'll be starting off with the usual movie review, music track review, music album review, then getting into the nostalgia case. So, we're going to be starting off with the weird satanic panic type of film called We Summon the Darkness. Came out recently. And let's get right into reviewing We Summon the Darkness. So, Alexandra Daddario of True Detective stars in this. More on her later. And Johnny Knoxville stars in this as a weird preacher. And Kian Johnson as an aspiring musician who encounters devilish forces at this metal concert. And that's kind of the center of the film, is what happens after this metal concert. So, We Summon the Darkness is about 3 young adults that go to a metal concert near an area where a large number of satanic killings are being reported. And in this concert, many violence related to the satanic cults happen after. There is many twists and turns in this movie, some predictable, some not predictable. And I really messed with all the story and the revelations and the subversion of expectations, and some clever writing. I feel like everybody had a personality, but in the end, the gore wasn't enough, the action wasn't enough, and while the ending was pretty nice, I feel like it was a bit just like not that grand of a story. But it feels like it was really just a nice low-budget horror, but it had a lot of star power. But the fact that it's set in the 80s during the metal, like the rise of the metal songs and shit, like it doesn't really go full-on 80s aesthetic. It just shows that at the concert. But in the end, it's just filmed at a normal suburban home. And I had to say, in terms of the whole like 80s set piece, it doesn't fully commit to that part, but it was still fun. The plot was still fun, but it's just the 80s. I don't know. We're getting a lot of 80s nostalgia stuff. We're gonna start getting 90s nostalgia stuff. Be ready, honestly, because we got when the movie mid-90s started, and then Captain Marvel was set in the 90s. We're slowly moving into, let's have some nostalgia bait from an old movie from a certain decade. And this does it in a slightly unique way, because I haven't seen an 80s nostalgia type of movie with metal as an aspect of it. But yeah, let's get into the plot. Stop talking about the 80s nostalgia stuff. I mean, I'm not from the 80s. I don't have nostalgia towards it, but there is a fun aesthetic of the 80s. You know what I mean? I was constantly asking what's next in an eager way while watching this, because there's so many turning points. It was pretty nice. It's a solid horror film, and there's not a lot of jump scares. It's more of a suspense and thriller, less of a horror who's gonna kill, because the killing doesn't really happen until about 45 minutes in. At like halfway through the movie, but like it's a short half. Even less than 45 minutes, and the build-up's pretty decent, I'd have to say. Alexandra Daddario, she went crazy. She when you realize about her character, who's the killer, who's the satanic killings, and why they're doing it, and you get into the religious themes of taking religion out of proportion, Alexandra Daddario has to do with a part of the crazy side of the movie, the violent side of the movie, and she was from True Detective and I believe the Percy Jackson films. All you book reading motherfuckers that say that Percy Jackson, the movie's not as good as the book. I haven't read the book. I never cared to read it. But the movies 1 and 2 I thought were really solid. They came at a time when young adult fantasy movies were at its height. We had Percy Jackson. We had Harry Potter. We had Sorcerer's Apprentice, underrated movie. I love that movie. Nick Cage and Jay Baruchel. Nice little flick. And we had those young sorcerers and young magicians. Nice little section of the late 2000s in film. And with this we get her. And she was in it. and she was in True Detective. She was who Woody Harrelson was. Woody Harrelson cheated a lot in that show because it's about detectives and like relationships and stuff, and he was cheating with he was banging Alexandra Daddario in the show. So yeah, you're probably like, oh, why is that the only thing you remember, Mike? It's kind of like but nah, it was all right. Yeah, she was in that show, and she was pretty good in that. In this, she kind of is the standout. And there's this awesome shot at the end of her with blood color covered all over her. Unique shot, nice little shot. A lot of unique shot, a lot of good. The cinematography was like okay in this. It wasn't standout, but there was certain shots that stuck with you. When the blonde girl was holding the pistol, ain't nothing like a shot with a wide lens and a pistol pointed at the lens. Very, very unique because it's like crazy moment. And a scene with the sheriff. Something happening to the sheriff, that was awesome too. Overall, solid movie. Really, like it's like that late night movie you show to your buds, just to see what their opinion is when the plot twists happens. But you don't really think much of it when you're done with it. But it's overall just one of those late night, rated R horror films to show your friends, and it was pretty nice. Yeah, and hour and a half, solid little flick just to check out, and I'd give it a rewatchable because I just like to show some people at like a late night type thing. It's for your friends and stuff, and it's an interesting little horror movie. And writing was pretty nice. And the religious theme saved the movie from being just a generic satanic killing thing. Like it's not just like, oh, satanic killings. There's more to it. There's more to the religious themes, and it was a solid little movie. And it's about just people taking religion out of proportion, and didn't drag on. And it's available for rent on demand on platforms such as Amazon Prime and Vudu. Leave a link to the trailer down below. Let's get into the next topic of the video on the podcast. Now, a fellow student of mine, high school student Tone, or his rap name WSC Tony, released the song Take a Bite featuring 302 Dev. Now, my friend previously released the local hit Oh My God. It almost has 5,000 views. The song is called Oh My God. Good little hit from my boy WSC Tone. Now, he released the song Take a Bite. And when WSC Tony has a memorable voice. He has a memorable voice, and I was excited to listen to this. And it's a song. He makes a lot of good club bangers, songs for people to listen to in a group and have fun with. A lot of songs for people to get together and have fun with and dance to. And the beat switches various times, rises and falls. Not a generic beat. It has some flavor to it. The beat was pretty solid, and there is memorable lyrics. Some lyrics are just kind of like, okay, I've kind of heard that before. But some lyrics are kind of like, yeah, bro, that's pretty nice. Like, and 302 Dev's feature on the track was a nice addition. He adds like a weird tough persona to the track, and it wasn't too special. But overall, I messed with the jabs at people, like calling him a clown and a child. Is pretty funny. Overall, a nice track, slightly unique from what I've been hearing, and a nice new voice from local Delaware rappers. And once again, link below to the SoundCloud, also available on iTunes. Take a Bite, nice little track. Now we're gonna review Meh by Playboi Carti. What I feel about the song Meh is the title of the track, Meh. I just feel meh. That's my review of Meh by Playboi Carti. Moving on. Like if you like, it's just like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about Meh. It's just Meh. It's just, okay. And you're.
God dang it, Tommy! God dang it, Tommy!
Anyways, next topic. 3.5 or 8th by a new album by Chuuwee and Trizz. one of the most one of my favorite rap duos. We got in terms of the good rap duos, you have Lil Wayne and Drake. You have Madlib and Freddie Gibbs. You have MF Doom and Madlib. And then you have Chuuwee and Trizz. You're probably thinking, who are these guys? They're rappers from California. They represent this smoky, smooth, relaxing West Side style of hip-hop. I've been a fan of the duo's series of mixtapes, America's Most Blunted. I am not sure if the name is inspired by the MF Doom song off of Mad Villainy, America's Most Blunted. I don't know if Chuuwee, Trizz, if you're listening, comment down below if it is inspired by that song by MF Doom. My boy Drew told me America's Most Blunted, isn't that a song off Mad Villainy? I don't know. But first entry to that series of America's Most Blunted. America's Most Blunted 1 had very memorable tracks that had By My Lonesome, SBC, fucking great, which is very badass yet cheerful song. Fucking great is what you listen to when you're in a great mood. And on this mixtape, there's one of the most outstanding tracks ever recorded, Nothing at All, featuring Schoolie 300. This song is basically, I'll sum it up. It's about that one girl that curved you when you were young, leaving you for a worse life. Then you have, in the song, the girl leaves you for a worse life and you move on to a better and more successful life. It's about you reflecting and saying, the past sucks. Let me move on, get past the people that don't rock with me. I got a better life now. That's what Nothing at All is about. One of the just most interesting, relatable songs ever done by the rap duo Chuuwee and Trizz. Obviously the best song, and the song speaks to me. And the old guitar loop filled cheerful instrumental adds a memorability factor to the song. Nothing at All, once again, being recorded by Chuuwee and Trizz featuring Schoolie 300. Now, with the later installments of the rap duo Chuuwee and Trizz's mixtape series, America's Most Blunted 2 had a memorable track such as the Snoop Dogg inspired May I, but I don't remember much else from the album. And the latest mixtape from the duo, besides the one I'm about to review, is America's Most Blunted 3, which was a step up in this series, with an outstanding track such as See Today and Fast Lane being released, when a couple weeks ago, the duo and Chuuwee and Trizz released a debut single of this album, Gas Pack. When they released that, I knew I was in for a new installment of this series, America's Most Blunted, or in general, a new album from the duo. Seems I got the latter of those statements, a new album from rap duo Chuuwee and Trizz called 3.5 or 8th. Now, I'm going to highlight a couple of songs that stuck with me after I listened to the album. The intro track, which is the title of the album, 3.5, is the most intense vocals, not too intense, but compared to the more laid-back feeling of the rest of the album, I mess with it. Various lyrics that mean something to me are one lyric highlighting the importance of buying a dream house compared to buying a dream crib. Because who cares about a car if you don't have a place to live? Another lyric, that was a paraphrase of the lyric, by the way. Another lyric is just him talking about how he has all gaming systems, 2006. I'm a gamer, and it's just he's playing Xbox, and it's just chilling lyric. And intro 3.5, pretty solid. This Spencery song, I appreciated the saxophones in the background of the beat, the instrumentals, and the lyrics were solid but not memorable. The mixing was a bit clunky, but overall, the saxophone sounds make it a 6.10 song out of 6 out of 10 song. 6 out of 10 song Dispensary, but the saxophones and the lyrics are alright. The lead single Gas Pack had a solid, memorable flow. It's generally a delightful, smoky song with an odd mixed instrumental which adds the trippy sound of the song and some interestingly changed percussion patterns. The song Don't Fuck With You is a song that had a flow obviously taken from Cardi B. I would call this a Cardi B homage song, and also it was a bit weird to listen to this. The guys acknowledge that it's a Cardi B homage song by putting her audio in the front, but I feel like I won't ever respect Cardi B from stealing the Grammy from artist Travis Scott for Astroworld. And overall, this song didn't sit with me well. Don't Fuck With You was okay, and it didn't really sit well with me, but yeah. The designer thing is about how some girls don't change and only want that designer clothing from you, and the beat is memorable, lyrics are relaxing and meaningful, and it's a song that almost made me feel like I did when I was listening to the earlier collaborations of Chuuwee and Trizz, and designer things is basically the best song on the album. In general, I'm more of a Chuuwee fan than Trizz. Maybe it's just because I've listened to more of Chuuwee, but Trizz is hard tone, is always a delight when he has a lot to say. Sometimes he has a lot to say, sometimes he doesn't have much to say as an artist, and because he has a really repetitive tone, but I feel like he was pretty solid. But I'd like to highlight Trizz's best song, because Trizz's best song, not on this album, it's Hell's Kitchen. Outstanding track. Definitely listen to that. Hell's Kitchen is Trizz's best song. And also he has The Basement, great album. And the song Thanos and What Is This, great song. So Trizz, pretty solid. Pretty solid. But I'm gonna have to say I'm a Chuuwee fan more. I just feel like he has a lot to say and he has more versatility as an artist. Alright. This album was overall, it would explain more how I feel about this album if I ranked it in terms of Chuuwee and Trizz collaborations, which I'm about to do. But I would like to say that most songs on this album will last about 2 months on my playlist, and 9 out of 12 songs out of this album will make it onto the playlist. Now, let's rank Chuuwee and Trizz's collaborations, mixtapes. I won't explain why. I just basically reviewed all their collaborations. So, number 4 out of their 4 collaborations would be America's Most Blunted 2. Then 3.5, 8th, at number 3 out of their collaborations. America's Most Blunted 3, second best of their collaborations. And number 1, which is a certified classic, America's Most Blunted 1. Outstanding album. Definitely check out their collaborations. I'd have to say their best, like in both of their careers, they work well together. The best songs out of both of their careers is when they're working together. Chuuwee and Trizz, great collaborators in the rap industry. There's my review of that album. 3.5 or 8th is out on Spotify, Apple Music. Go listen to it if you enjoy that smoky, relaxing West Coast music. I'm a West Coast guy. Sometimes I'm East Coast. It really depends. A lot of East Coast people are just fake players. I feel like the Californians make real music. And yeah, let's get into the nostalgic case. Let's get this case out. Boom. Ta-da, 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 ta-da. Image will be right here. Boom. Joe Dirt. We'll be talking Joe Dirt. Now you're thinking, isn't that just the shitty Happy Madison movie from like all of Adam Sandler's friends? This movie's very inspiring, and it's wacky, it's guilty pleasure humor, and I overall mess with it due to the messages that are conveyed in the movie. The lead quote of this movie is, "Life's a garden, dig it, make it work for you." That is inspiring and sticks with me after I watch it. It's all about this guy. His parents left him at the Grand Canyon, and he goes his entire life not having a family, and he decides to look for his family. In his entire life, he encounters wacky people trying to find his mom and dad and sister, and because he never had a family and stuff. And he really learns who his true family is, and learns about himself and who he needs to rock with as a human being. And there's so much memorable, weird moment to this. And Christopher Walken in this movie is really solid. Just the references and the little spoofs. Like, they have a spoof of Silence of the Lambs in this. They have a spoof of like a witness protection person. And there's many wacky characters that this guy meets. And the jokes are very... a lot of juvenile humor, but I really liked it. I don't know why. The jokes in this are hilarious. And yeah, Joe Dirt, check it out if you want a funny, short, inspiring movie, only like an hour and a half, and it's Joe Dirt, man. Like, nobody likes this guy in life. Everybody shits on this guy in life, but he moves on. He digs life and moves on and keeps on keeping on. And very inspiring movie, and the narrative structure is actually very interesting. It's told through a radio interview, with flashbacks, And it's funny, like the radio interview host was just always a unique person to me, Xander Kelly, and he was just like, the moment Joe Dirt, because he was a janitor at the radio station, walked in, he was like, I got to hear your story, man. And the way they banter back and forth and might misinterpret what the story is, like he was like, you probably listen to this girly music, and Joe Dirt was like, no, I'm a rocker, man, through and through, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, and this guy's just like, okay, we get it. And interesting banter between the radio host and Joe Dirt, once again played by David Spade, and shout out to David Spades. He does like one of those like celebrity talk show things, but it's on Comedy Central, and he has a YouTube channel for it, and it's good. It's nice. It's not like a bad late night show. It's not like Jimmy Fallon or any of those guys. It's actually good. Like David Spade's funny, trust me. And overall Joe Dirt was nice. The sequel was just like, what the heck? It was funny. It was like guilty pleasure, and there's like time travel, but it was whack. And it had a nice. There's emotion to this, and I don't understand why people really don't like this movie. It's like Grown Ups. It's like The Water Boy. It's like That's My Boy. It's like those movies that are comedies that actually have good messages about connecting with people and finding out who your true friends are and getting away from those fake people. Great movie. And if you don't like Joe Dirt,
I disagree, Gary.
I disagree. Thank you for watching. Appreciated it. Very appreciate your time watching this. And there is one scene in Joe Dirt, though, I just gotta say, when there's a scene where he finds what he thinks is an atomic bomb, and it turns out to be a septic tank full of shit, and the shit goes all over him. And it was weird, but it was funny because he counters it through like a Native American wacky movie. Joe Dirt, trust me, if you want like a weird, unique comedy, Joe Dirt's it. And a lot of times in this movie, they do the whole thing where nasty is supposed to be funny, and it's just like,
oh, that's
but like I don't know. Yeah, check out Joe Dirt if you want like a weird old comedy. 1999. Sorry, microphone, I keep hitting you. And I'm sorry, it's Clash of Clans. Alright, yeah. These buttons I have. Oh man, I don't know, I have these buttons and shit. Anyways, yeah, comment down below what you thought of any of my reviews of these movies, and if you're in the chat right now, I'm gonna premiere this. Tell me guys what you thought of my video. Like, subscribe, share to whenever you like, and if you're listening to this on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, any other podcast programs, subscribe to this podcast for more HASSCAST. We're on 26. I feel like with the last one's podcast formula, we're gonna stick to that way because I've been changing it up a lot. And also the new camera angle is because I changed my desk and whatnot. And if you're going to say anything negative, this is what I have to say.
I asked you, when the fuck did I ever ask you?
When did I ask you to speak negative about my podcast? But then again, I don't care. Say whatever you want. I'm not going to stop you from saying whatever. But we're staying strong. More HASSCAST, more podcasts, more videos coming out for you guys to live, laugh, and prosper. And always, I'll be talking about some movies, music, and magic. I'll be casting out my thoughts to you on the next HASSCAST.